we have made our contribution to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and we can look back with pride on our achievement. And by God's grace, we hope to go on from strength to strength.
Thomas M. Saunders' contribution spans an impressive 65 years in the area of teaching, cooperatives, and religion. He began his teaching career at the Union Methodist School in 1931 at the tender age of 14. He later taught at 9 other schools throughout the country, leaving a track record of selfless dedication. He was a member of the Board of Education and the president of the then Teachers Association. His leadership of the Teachers Association ushered in a new and radical era in the teaching profession.
Conditions were not very right with us. We made representation to get better salaries and better working conditions. And I even led a strike. I led a strike for about 4 days. Many people were surprised to know that I led a strike, closed down the schools for a couple of days. It was very effective. And at the end of the 4th day, the then administrator sent to call me and called the executive of the Teachers Association. And he said that now that you've shown your strengths and you have achieved your end, you can go back to work and we look after your interests. And our grievance was met and we were satisfied.
It was the first time the teachers had gone on strike in St. Vincent, and 2 burning issues were addressed as a result of this action. Teachers were granted long leave, and their salaries were brought in line with that of civil servants. Mr. Saunders left teaching in 1959 to revive the cooperative movement in this country. He was appointed field officer in 1960 and set about the task of forming cooperatives. It was a difficult task since cooperatives were regarded with suspicion here.
The cooperative movement was in St. Vincent around the year 40, 45, thereabout. But in those days, they had no registrar, they had no rules, and it was not properly run. They opened a shop which went bankrupt, and a lot of people lost money. And that left a bad taste in their mouth. In fact, to talk about credit union or cooperative was like a curse, because people lost money in that first venture, and nobody wanted to be involved in such a thing again.
Mr. Saunders formed the Kingstown and the government employees credit unions, as well as those at South Rivers and Barrowley. There was a real need, he says, for these organizations.
There was a need for money. Farmers had joined what is called Agricultural Credit Society, but they were limited in scope in that government lent them a certain amount of money and paid it back. They never accumulated any reserve. They never had any reserve to work on their own. They always depended on money from the government. But after a while, those societies faded out. And left what called a vacuum for loans. And so the credit union came in and filled that vacuum.
He retired from the government service in 1967, but continued to serve his church as a local preacher.
I was a local preacher, and I preached in many of the churches, Methodist churches in Kingstown. I became a lay agent, that is a person who was given out dispensation to administer the sacraments. So I did that for 6 years, from 1974 to 1980. And I preached in many of the churches from Georgetown right on to Châteaubriand. I have given up that now because I think it's time for me to get the rest from that sort of activity. But I still take part. I belong to the Men's Fellowship, where we have great discussions on biblical matters, which really help to enlighten the members and to give them a better understanding of the scriptures.
He gave up preaching in February of 1997 after 50 years, but still keeps himself busy by running a commission agency in Kingstown.
That has served me up to today. I still do it, not on a very large scale, but I have some agencies that repeat themselves because the products are needed in the island. So I still carry on that agency, which has kept me occupied and involved in what is happening in the world today.
Mr. Saunders has served this country well in the field of education, community development, social work, and religion, a contribution that has gone a long way in the development of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.